Great. So, Philip, thanks very, very much for the time.
Likewise.
Purpose of this meeting, it's basically twofold. Firstly, I'd like to just make sure that the role of the IT demand manager is clear for you and what its intention is. And secondly, I'd like to get an overview of what you're doing at the moment with the intention of trying to link any future IT projects to your business needs.
Okay.
Does that sound okay?
Yeah, that sounds good.
So, I don't know how much you know about the history of the demand management function within Bayer.
More or less nothing. I have read a little bit, but...
And I know that you're quite new to the organisation.
Exactly, yes.
That's good, so I'm not going to bore you with history. The situation is that there has been a position developed called the IT demand manager or the IT business partner, and their role is acting as an interface between business and IT so that we create IT solutions which really fit with business needs. Yeah?
Okay.
In a nutshell, that is the role. And my role is covering a certain spectrum of the business. So I'm covering your particular department, and I'm covering purchasing, I'm covering HR, I'm covering a lot of the operational functions, and I hope also to understand who is most important for you, because it makes sense if I cover those aspects of the business as well. And so the purpose of this discussion is just to get to know a little bit about, you know, what some of your situational background is and what some of the challenges are, so that I can put it down on paper and have a little think about it and come back to you with ideas or proposals if there are any. If there are not, then it just moves forward into the normal planning process.
Okay. That
Okay.
sounds very interesting, yes.
Great. So, as you are an IT demand manager, yeah? So, what's your environment and situation at the moment?
Sorry, I'm the IT demand manager.
Well, you are who you are, so you don't have to pretend to be somebody else. But I am the IT demand manager, calling on an IT demand manager.
Sure. Talking about what kind of issues we have at the moment in our department.
Yeah, let's go straight there. What are the key challenges?
I mean, that is really what's on my mind.
Okay.
To get this kind of thing solved. So many other departments, we have, of course, pretty strict budgets, so we have a lot of cost savings we need to introduce. And what I could see on the numbers was really that we used a lot of cost on IT devices. We have all these new tablets and cell phones, and it's all over the place.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking for a solution that we can still keep this new modern technology in our department for our sales reps, but to lower the cost. Are there other solutions that we get at the moment that are more cost efficient devices that we can somehow get? I'm very open for the solutions in that area.
So if I understand that correctly, one part of the situation is that you're under a lot of budget pressure, which means you're having budget reduced. Your budget
yes,
plans?
there's some areas that basically has been cut down. So now I'm looking into spreading the cost a bit, so it's not going to hit us too much in all areas.
Okay.
And one of the areas I can see is pretty high is the IT area.
Okay. And so you're saying that there's a lot of new technology, devices, iPads and cell phones, I take it, and smartphones. And
Yes,
different.
exactly.
So, and a lot of this has been bought in for the organisation.
Yes.
And so, but that money's been spent.
That's already been spent.
Yeah.
But I just see an increase every month, every year. So I would like to somehow stop this kind of development.
Okay. And so, what's the problem? Is the problem that you see that you're going to carry on spending money on new devices?
Yeah, I see like the error just going up. I don't know when it's going to stop. So I would like to that we somehow can control the cost much better. Give me more options than just one device for this certain amount of price. I would like to have more options of purchasing devices for different price layers, you could say.
Okay. And what's the situation? Are you restricted into where you go for your buying decisions, or do you have...
No, not what I know of.
Okay.
I know that just that there is certain products that are developed, certain apps that are developed. To my knowledge, they will work on several devices.
Yeah.
You may have some policies that we need to make sure we are under, you could say, IT-wise. But I would be very interested in getting some devices that is much better price-wise,
Okay.
but still fulfilling the things we need to use them for.
Okay. Just so that I get a clear understanding of this particular problem, what is the consequence? What happens if you don't address this? Yeah. Let's say, for example, that you're not able to find a solution to it over the next 12 months. What is the impact and consequence?
Well, in the end, I would need to say no to some of my staff that they cannot have these devices. They need to maybe to have fewer devices, which in the end will mean that we cannot really use the tools that we're supposed to use at in the markets, at the doctors where we are going with these devices.
Okay.
Which is not good for our business.
Yeah. Okay. Which means there would be an impact on customer retention, or
worst case scenarios.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So it's very much something that goes out in front of doctors and of key opinion
Exactly.
leaders.
Yes.
And they're using.
And we can see our competitors are using these devices. So if we suddenly come in and we are old-fashioned, I would also not like to have that kind of give that kind of impression from our department.
But let me be very honest. So what? Right? I mean, what? At the moment, I'm sure that all of your sales reps have an iPad. Yeah. If they don't have a new iPad, what's the consequence?
No, but the iPads are going to be replaced. I can see that in the numbers. They're replaced every second year, so they are very frequently having a short life cycle. So they're going to be replaced.
You have a 2-year life cycle.
There are 2-year life cycle in the iPads.
Okay.
And the cost for an iPad is high. It's very high.
Yeah.
I can see in our total budget. So so that is having a big impact.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Plus, I would also not like to have that and the market analysis also shows, and the surveys that are shown is that this is the development that also our customers like, that the doctors like, that we are more efficient in this way, and we are in using the modern technology.
Great.
So I not like to come into a situation where we have to simply skip it.
Okay. Well, I'm sure that you've thought about ideas and solutions, or I'm sure that there are a number of options that are available to you. What's on the table as far as solutions go?
Well, I can only see what's on the market. I can see there is other products than Apple. There's, for example, some Android products, which I can see is cheaper, at least for consumers. I guess it's the same for business. Yeah. Is this not a possibility to somehow introduce in the company?
Okay. And are there limitations behind that? I mean, it took long enough to get Apple recognised as a company standard. Wouldn't it also be the same with an Android?
You tell me. That's something that comes from IT, so I don't know. I can just see they're available on the market. Yeah. I'm pretty sure we're not the only department, the only business function that are interested in this. So there's a business need for it. So I hope that this is something that can be brought up in the IT community. Yeah. And can I ask a few more questions about the habits of, if we take the sales reps as one particular community, does that mean each sales rep will have an iPad and they will have a standalone computer to do their normal day-to-day business? At the moment, yes. They will have a standalone computer, an iPad, and in many cases even also an iPhone. Okay. Simply because we don't really have many options.
Yeah. And so what about for you personally as an individual? What's your favourite IT?
What my favorite IT is? Yeah. Well, I like the iPads a lot, but I don't really personally have a big need of the iPad. Yeah. So I actually don't have an iPad myself. Right. So it's good it's there, but it should only be used for those who really need it. Yeah. And it's very interesting that those who do have iPads, they either do use it intensively in doctor discussions, so they really take it out very, very often, put it on the table. Exactly, yes. Then you have the second type of person who uses it intensively and uses a lot of note-taking capability, and they use it as a pad of paper as well. And then you have the third type of person who has it but doesn't use it. That I know everything about. We are fighting a lot about persons who need an iPad, and we need to ask them why they need it, and they have all kind of excuses. Yes. So we're also missing some policy on the area. I can see from other departments that different managers having different policies, but I'm also would like to have some kind of policy, maybe from IT, a user segmentation function where you put people into reps, office-based users, frequent travelers, and this kind of things. That could also help in this situation.
Do you have some way of tracking the usage of time and application on the device itself?
Not us. I guess that's something that should come maybe from IT as well. I guess you have some kind of system behind it.
I mean, it depends on the environment, but sometimes it is a possibility to see who is using which type of application and how long they spend on one particular page.
The only thing we can see is basically that we are typing in appointments with the doctors, and we can see that they have ticked off that they've had the appointment with the doctor, but not really how much they're using the application, the presentations, and this kind of things.
Well, there is an example at the moment from Barcelona. I'm not really sure if I agree with this example or not, but it has been created by the marketing people to see how much time a sales rep will spend going through a series of 7 slides related to a specific message. And the tracking system also shows you on the zoom areas of the document that they show. So you create a statistic for the marketing people that says they spent a lot of time on this visual, they spent no time on this visual, they had a lot of time spent there as well.
And is this legal? It sounds a little bit like also you're tracking the staff. So I mean, I guess we need to check if it's somehow within a.
I mean, it very much depends on the local legal.
But it sounds interesting, I have to say.
Yeah. My question is really related to the usage of a device. Firstly, to the cost of running 2 machines, which I think in today's technological world is a valid question, and also to the possibility of bringing in a device that can maybe solve both of those problems. Have you looked at any devices which act as a main computer and a tablet type device for presentation purposes?
Well, the only thing I can say is that I have heard from some other countries in the company where they actually tried out having an iPad as the only working device.
Yeah.
Gave too many problems, too many challenges, that it is not really sustainable for the people.
Okay.
So they actually went away from that again.
Okay.
I've been thinking about it, but I don't see it as a solution for us at least.
No. And would you see one device as being a solution if it were possible?
Well, then we go, if it were possible, yes.
Okay.
But then in my eyes we go back to having only the laptop, and that's where we now move from having a big laptop and beamer and showing presentations in the doctor's place, instead of having a small fixed iPad that you can very quickly show the presentation. You don't have any boot up time on the laptops, you need to log in and all this kind of things.
Yeah. Okay, great. Great, okay. I do have a couple of ideas, but I don't want to take up any more of your time at the moment. I'm going to put these ideas into a small 1 or 2 slide presentation. I'll make sure that the ideas are focused and summarise the discussion that we've had until now. I'm also aware that this must be just one particular situation that you're dealing with, and there must be others as well. So I'll come back in a couple of weeks with a formulated plan, which we can then move on to as a next step if it's appropriate. And I'll have a couple of other questions about a couple of other specifics about your job as well.
Okay, thank you very much.
Terrific.
Okay.
Thank you very much.